I see my colleague Itamar from MBA 21. Hello, Itamar.
Okay,
63.
let's start.
Should I start? Okay,
let's go.
I think you're ready. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to our MIB Alumni 2020 reunion. This is an online gathering. This is a special gathering due to this delicate, let's say, circumstances worldwide. But don't worry, I'm not going to talk about the pandemic. We are going to concentrate on positive things and not positive, let's say optimistic things. And we are going to try to make the most of this important event. Sorry, when I'm talking, I will, of this important event for our community. Unfortunately, as you can guess, our standard format for the reunion, that means 2 days with a lot of gatherings and sharing experience, was not possible. This one could not have been reproduced. And instead, what have we done? We have identified a topic, a theme for this reunion. And then we have invited a keynote speaker and five alumni with relevant backgrounds on this topic to come join us online and to share their experiences with us. This year's topic is from science to business. This has been chosen related also to the fact that this year Trieste hosted ESOF 2020, the European Science Open Forum. And therefore, our small Trieste became, for a week, the European capital of science. How will the afternoon go? What's our agenda? I will briefly give the floor to Valentina for a brief, let's say, welcome message on behalf of the school as well. Then it's going to be our keynote speaker to take the floor. We are going to host Gianluigi Rozza from Sissa. Thank you, Gianluigi. Sissa, for those of you that don't know, is an international school for advanced studies. So it's a school where you go to get your PhD degree or your postdoc, so doctoral and postdoctoral studies. You don't go to Sissa if you want a bachelor degree. You first get a bachelor degree in another university, and then you go to Sissa if you want to deepen your knowledge even further. Okay, after Gianluigi, it's time for our alumni stories. And we will have 5 alumni that will share their experiences on the topic from science to business. And these stories will take the form of an interview. And we have Maria and Paola as moderators. Following the alumni stories, it's time for our assembly. And since 2020 was an election year, and not only in the USA, also for MIB Trieste Alumni Association, we are going to present finally the results, and we are going to see the new members of the board. Before giving the floor to Valentina for her brief welcome, let me tell you just 2 more technical things. As I said before, I see almost everybody has turned on their cameras. Keep your mics off. Also interact with us either in the chat or by raising your hand. We'll try to monitor that. And also I'm asking my colleagues if one of you can share in the chat a Padlet link. We prepared the Padlet link where we want to gather your opinions, your feedback, your suggestions. So maybe if you want to ask specific questions to the theme, write in this chat or raise your hand. If you want to write general thoughts on the association, please go to the Padlet and leave it there because it will be open and everyone can see it after. I think that's it. I will leave the floor to Valentina, please.
Thank you very much. So hi, everyone, beautiful alumni community. I'm really glad to be here together anyway. That's the important thing. And I'd like to share also the greetings by the board of directors of the school, and especially by our dean, Professor Vladimir Nanut, who is also the honorary president of our Alumni Association. This year was quite a special one because of the election of the new board. We had 2 record numbers, and I will share some facts with you later during the assembly. So stay tuned. And we give the floor to our guests of today. Thank you, everyone, to be with us.
Okay, just one more. I want to say just 2 words about Gianluigi. Then Gianluigi, the floor is yours. So Gianluigi is in charge of the mathematics area, coordinator of the mathematics area at Sissa. And what's more relevant for us, he's also and Gianluigi, then correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have the paper, he's the director's delegate for what's that? Valorization of knowledge, innovation, technology transfer, and industrial cooperation.
Yes.
Good. Please, Gianluigi.
Thank you, Dorina. Good afternoon, everybody. And thanks a lot for this very kind invitation and opportunity. And also thank you for all the organization. I'm starting sharing my presentation just as a guideline, a path guideline, but I will go also more quickly maybe than the presentation, than the contents of the presentation itself. Of course, I would like just to tell that I am more on a scientist than, of course, and let's say an expert of business. So forgive me for also providing maybe not a well-balanced presentation, but I would like to focus on the several potential aspects that science could offer to business. And of course, I would like to focus on the fact that we are into a knowledge-based economy, into a knowledge-based society. I do hope that you can see my presentation now. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
And I would like to thank, of course, Dorina for also the very kind introduction she gave. And I think that she already said almost everything. So I would like just to introduce the topic of this very brief speech about valorization of research, innovation, about knowledge and technology transfer, and about also industrial and also institutional cooperation. Sissa, as has been already introduced by Dorina, is a doctoral school, an institute for advanced studies. In Italy, there are other 5 of these institutes. I would like to mention Sant'Anna and Scuola Normale Superiore in Pisa, the IMT in Lucca, the Gran Sasso Science Institute in L'Aquila, and the IUS in Pavia. And so after, let's say, a first and a second mission of these schools related with training, educational activities, and research, there is a mission number 3, which is related to the valorization of research, innovation, and technology transfer. Of course, we are an institute of science, and that's why our source of inspiration for the creation of this technology and knowledge transfer mission has been, for example, the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. And because our goal is an ethical valorization of our knowledge, and also the capability to transfer our, let's say, excellence in science also to society, with the final goal to improve citizens' life. And this is not an easy task, because we want that our school will be more and more open also at the beginning, just to the surrounding region, to the territory. But of course, we need to keep very strong also the international mission of the school, since it's in its name itself. And so also the need of looking farther and deeper. And another important aspect that is very important for the school and also for this mission is that even if we are an international school in Trieste, English is the first language, of course, Sissa is strongly established and founded also on the Italian educational system, and so also on Italian culture and tradition that are in the DNA of the school. Wanted to look farther, wanted to look deeper, we realized that we are more on the knowledge transfer than technology transfer, since we are an institute developing basically basic science. We have a mathematics area, physics area, and neuroscience area. But we believed in the last few years that it's possible to transfer this knowledge with a motto: science for industry, science for society, because there was a need also in institutions and in companies about developing also scientific project with us. And this was, for us, was very important, very encouraging. And this is the reason also why we were able somehow to transfer what was already an established mission for us in excellence in research and science also to the technology transfer. And it's very important also for the school to develop many opportunities and many contacts with the real world, because we do think that also contamination is an added value for a stronger role of Sissa in the society. And that's why we started several new initiatives in the last 10 years that I would like now to talk about and to introduce. The first thing was related to the fact that we wanted that our PhD students were focused on their scientific project, but without barriers and without frontiers. And one of the first things was the effort, also thanks to an agreement, for example, with also Confindustria, to create some opportunities during their during the students' studies to train and also to start a proper talent valorization in some very small projects we call micro grants, such that they can be in contact with real world and with industry. And we created this brand PHE for PMI. PMI is the Italian acronym for small and medium enterprises, because this is the structure also of companies in the region close to Sissa. Since this initiative was quite successful, we decided to start a second one, which we call PhD for Innovating. And this was a very different initiative, a special edition carried out this year, 2020, in the framework of ESOF, has been already mentioned, the European Science Open Forum. And we wanted to create teams of scientists, of PhD students working together. And these students were coming not only from Sissa, but also from all the Institute for Advanced Studies of Italy. And they were facing a challenge. They wanted to do an innovation competition to create innovation for the port of Trieste. So we were taking an important infrastructure in the region, in the city of Trieste, and we were trying to design, to think, and to imagine how we could transform the port of Trieste thanks to new technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, high performance computing. And so this was a real challenge within ESOF, but also creating connection between several scientists of different schools. And also, of course, the students were supposed to work together into a team. And another important aspect was more related also to the international mission of the school. We wanted to, of course, create a connection between us and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston, that you may know. And in that, we are supporting exchange of students in collaboration from Trieste to Boston, but also from Boston to Trieste, to foster innovation and to foster technology transfer. So we would like also to be inspired by the main actors in the world, the champions of technology transfer. Now I would like just to introduce briefly what was my experience inside the school and in the creation of an applied mathematics laboratory called Sissa MATLAB. I joined Sissa in 2012, and Sissa MATLAB was established in 2010. And we just turned 10 years at the end of last month. The motto of this laboratory has been since the beginning, innovating with mathematics. It's a laboratory where we create mathematical model. And in the lower part of the slides, you see some of these computer simulation representing, you see some industrial shape, you see the bulbous bow of a cruise ship, you see the propeller, but you see also some fluid dynamic phenomena interested also to be better understood in biomedicine. The idea was to devote our effort into interdisciplinary research and focusing on some industrial application and our capability in modeling very complex systems. So we are putting together some fields of applied physics like computational fluid dynamics to modern and let's say emerging technologies like high performance computing, and above all the creation of a new paradigm for software, for example, open source, so open innovation. And we were able to create several connections with the industry, with local industry, and also with international companies. These are the projects that have been taken care in the last 6 years. And I would like to mention two things: that to be able to carry out research projects in cooperation with industry, we have several drivers and also some killers that we have to take into account. So we need, for example, to react in a timely manner with industrial needs. We have to be able to provide the right competencies in the right time. And this is sometimes not an easy task, also because we have also to adapt our way of communicating with the industry. Also the language that we are using in science sometimes is not the one that is expected into a research center carried out by industry, or something which is compatible with the market. So we had to rethink our way of conducting research in order to be able to stay on the market and to attract, as you can see, also some important industrial group. Of course, this was not sufficient. We needed also to look at the transformation of the industrial context. And I would like to mention, for example, the important initiatives related with Industry 4.0, digitalization of industry. And there was the establishment of an important competence center in Triveneto, so Friuli Venezia Giulia, Veneto, and Trentino Alto Adige. This competence center is called SMACT. SMACT is an acronym for Social Network, Mobile, Platforms and Application, Advanced Analytics, Big Data, Cloud Computing, and Internet of Things. So all emerging technologies. SMACT is made up by all the universities in the Triveneto, together with very important companies, but also startups and emerging high-tech industries. And of course, we have also some design, some thinking lab, and above all, digital innovation hub. So this is an important initiative to create connection in order to foster also the development of the Industry 4.0 paradigm. And for example, we are building at Sissa together, of course, in the framework of a SMACT Competence Center, a live demo that we call Odissea. The supercomputer of Sissa is named Ulysses. And we are developing digital twins for modeling. A digital twin is a virtual replica of an existing product, of an existing plant, or a process. So we are digitalizing everything such that we can better design, we can have more and more efficient, safer, and greener product. We can focus more on sustainability. We can reduce the time to market. We can reduce the development cost. And of course, we can even offer many more services and features that at the moment we even cannot imagine. And this live demo based on digital twin is in need of important investments in infrastructure, in technological infrastructure. And that's why we have some industrial, let's say, supporters, and of course the universities in the region. And I would like to mention that maybe you are already well aware of several new emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, high performance computing, data science, reduced order methods. We would like to put them together in this digital twin development. And there are emerging several needs, but also several opportunities for business. Because, for example, we want to export what is related with supercomputing in high-performance computing center to daily life. So to export scientific computing where there is still little exploitation. And you can think to export from a supercomputer to a laptop, to a smartphone, to a tablet, our mathematical models. And the last, let's say, scenario is even to export the scientific computing on the internet, and just doing this thanks to internet connection and to a browser. And this is what we are realizing in some projects like Argos and Atlas that you see in the lower part of these slides. So there are several also technological opportunity that are business opportunity. And just to give you an idea, the Italian press newspaper last spring devoted attention to these potential aspects for development. And I would like just to give you the idea. In medicine, you can think that you can use a supercomputer to develop patient-specific model and to plan cardiovascular surgery, for example. You can think the role played by big data in order to be analyzed and well organized in some databases useful for simulation. And of course, there was also the technological development of the exporting from supercomputer to daily life devices. So this was just an idea of what we would like to develop in the next few years. And now I'm reaching the conclusion. I would like to mention and to focus on some aspects about science for business, but looking at the future in our economy. I think that you agree that in the European perspective, in the last 2 decades, we can think that science has been very successful. If you think to experiments, if you think to CERN, European Research Council, European Space Agency. And usually economic crises are emphasized by lack of a proper technology transfer and the fact that innovation cycles sometimes are not completed. And innovation is a bit delayed compared with the scientific results. This has been due to several reasons, and you are more expert than me, so I don't want to open because I'm not, of course, an expert, even if besides maybe political instabilities and some weakness in the European Union organization, I would like to mention that also there is a general non-interest of public opinion in teams related with research and innovation. And this is causing, let's say, a distance between also industry, market, business, and research activities. Another fact is that Europe is lower with respect to Asia and North America in industrial and market transformation, but because there is this lack of technology transfer. There are actions, of course, that the European Committee, European Union provided, Horizon 2020 program and the new Horizon Europe, of course, European Research Council, the Marie Curie Initiative, the Cooperation in Science and Technology, and so on. And there is even a new Innovation Council that has been created and all with the proper budget. But I do think that also the fact that sometimes science is far from citizen is a problem. And that's why I think that in order to foster science for business in future, we would need to be more careful about also outreach activities. And European Science Open Forum that has been already mentioned has been a great opportunity for the European scientific community, but also for the city of Trieste in terms of creating ideas, research valorization. And of course, there is also an upcoming delayed expo in Dubai, now 21, where the motto is connecting minds, creating future. And of course, again, there is a strong emphasis on technology development and technology transfer. And of course, there are also other thematic strategic field like sustainability and mobility. But of course, public opinion closer to science means that also innovation and knowledge transfer and technology transfer are entering in a political agenda. Otherwise, they are a bit far. And to conclude, I would like also to mention about drivers and killers of research to business, to industry, our personal experience in my group at Sissa MATLAB. We have to think into a different way our attitude to research, how to react in a timely manner to industrial needs, the language I mentioned. Also, we need money, of course, and that's why we need to create cooperation with the industry as an investment for future, and we need also to talk about this. Sometimes science is far from money, but this is not good because we need also infrastructure, we need supercomputers, we need to make important investments. We need also right people, so we need also to foster important initiative in training and education. And I mentioned that in our case, were very important the initiative carried out at Sissa in applied math. And we need infrastructure, as I mentioned, and not only supercomputer, but also important software. And this is again an investment because to create software for mathematical modeling, it's very expensive and also it takes time. And so we need also to be aware that before creating connection and collaboration, we need also to be prepared with the basic infrastructure. And of course, about the public opinion and the outreach activities I've already mentioned. And so there was also from our side a more important effort and more attention to citizens, to young scientists, to schools, because this is very important, because also family should be somehow properly encouraged, and also they need suggestion, they need help in making the right choice also in the education of their children. And the last but not least important aspect is that research into a team, into a multidisciplinary team, is benefiting from the fact that we are always characterized by diversity. This is a multiculturalism. It's a very, very important and strategic asset. And I mentioned before artificial intelligence, and this is important, but of course, to research means to work together, and all is still about people. So the human aspect and human factor is still very, very important also in science, and also to create connection and to create the right cooperation with the industry, with the market, and with the institution. So we need people with a certain degree of enthusiastic attitude. And I would like to mention that in our group, made up by 20 people, we had experience in like 30 different universities. People are coming from 7 different countries. And this is very important because we are not just putting together engineers, mathematicians, computer scientists, but we are providing an important message also as an important driver for the creation of research opportunity with the industry. Diversity and to, people which are happy and have an enthusiastic attitude, and above all, that they are able to listen to needs in a different field, trying to understand, and with the being sure that they are not able alone to carry out this research, but together it's possible. So we would like also to cooperate, to promote cooperation more also between institutions, not only companies, and because we do think that this is a very important asset for future in business. Of course, the group is evolving. I would like just to say that another important thing is the capability to adapt to the situation. And in the last, let's say, 10 months, the group is in this configuration, but in any case, we are trying to do again our efforts. So also adaptivity is a very important attitude for carrying out and valorize research. I would like to thank you for your attention.
Very, very well. Thank you, Gianluigi. It was very, very interesting, and I think everybody agrees with me. I would like to focus. I noticed, and I'm very happy to have noticed this, that you talked about cooperation and about outreach and about involving the public. And I think from what you say, you are very good at this. But what I see, you know, I work a little bit in science communication at Sissa Medialab. That's why I knew you, I know you. I don't see this with so many scientists. I don't see this with other institutions. So I think this is something that can be seen, I don't say as a barrier, but anyway, like a small obstacle in getting things to another level. So what do? Do you train your team? Let's say, how do you manage to let's say to put them to think about the importance of informing the public communication, science communication to non-experts?
Yeah, usually people are always thinking that they are too busy to do something different with respect to what their agenda is imposing. And so they think that they cannot do because they don't have time, they don't have slots, they don't have energy. And I try to educate also my group in saying that everything is impossible because we cannot do everything, but we try to do more than we are aware. And it means that usually we put some more activities in the agenda that would not fit, but at the end they will. But because we need to change our perspective, we need to be a little bit more maybe less responsible about keeping, maybe sometimes when we say too many yes, it could be dangerous, but in reality it's not, because you are keeping always your enthusiastic attitude at a higher level, and people at the beginning are very worried, but then they realize that this is an important, a very important aspect of our research life, because if you have a strong contact with the citizen, with the students, with the young students also, you have a more enthusiastic attitude to your work, because you always are enriched by exchange of ideas, even if they are not at the same level, because I cannot expect that at the moment I can talk about my project with maybe a student in its last year of high school. But the question that he could provide us, they are always very interesting, and they are always deep, and they can lead us to think things into a different way. This is important to break this kind of barrier, this strong and constrained definition about roles, about time. So this is, in my opinion, the important aspect also for outreach activities, to be a little bit more enthusiastic and optimistic also.
Yes, thank you, Gianluigi. I agree. I think scientists should get a little bit more of their ivory tower and go spread a little bit and talk to people. I got a question, but this is not really a question still for you, but can we share your slides with the participants? If you sent me the link afterwards, or either presentation or a link, if you put it somewhere, because some people are asking me, because it was very interesting. So I like to ask the community if there is anyone willing to make a question by raising the hand so we can see your face. Otherwise, since we are a little bit on with the agenda, we move on. But if there are people willing to make a live question, we are here. Yes, no? Don't be shy. Shy people. Okay, so I think we move on. Thank you, Gianluigi, very much. If you have time, we would like you to stay around, because now it's the time for our alumni interview. So you might hear some very interesting stories from science to business. So please be around. Okay, I think I give the floor one more time. Thank you. I give the floor to Maria now.
Hi, thank you, Dorina, and hi, everybody. First of all, I want to thank the 5 speakers of the Alumni Stories session for joining us today to share their science-based experiences with us. Before starting with our brief interview, I would like to ask each of you a 1-minute presentation to introduce yourself, the master you attended, and your current role. So let's start with Claudio Colaiacomo.
Hi, everybody. I was on mute. So very quickly, so I attended EMBA 14, and I am the Vice President of Academic Relations at Elsevier, who's a publishing company and a data analytics company. So essentially, my job is to meet stakeholders in the scientific field, and I relate what our company does into the scientific community. So in essence, science and business is an integral part of my job. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. Now, Susanne Kerbarczyk.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and I'm delighted to be here. Greetings to fellow alumni. So I head the Communications, Public Information and Outreach Office at an international biotech organization in Trieste, which has almost 70 member nations. So it's a research organization with laboratories in Italy, India, South Africa, and most recently China. It pursues basic research in the life sciences, training and capacity building, and technology transfer. Personally, I hold a Bachelor of Arts degree and a diploma in education from the University of Melbourne in Australia. And in 2015, I obtained my MBA in biomedical and innovation technology and ICT management. So my work today focuses on science communication, outreach, governance, and global visibility initiatives for sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne. Now, Serena Planera.
Okay, hello everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be here. So thank you really for the invitation and for organizing it. I am Serena Planera. Currently, I am District Sales Manager at Eli Lilly, that is an American pharmaceutical multinational company. So my background, I have a bachelor degree in biotechnology, and then I have a master degree in cognitive neuroscience, and I've been working for a few years as academic researcher and on complex decision making. Afterwards, I decided to bridge the gap between science and business with an MBA full time. So I attended the MBA 26. And after that, I joined Eli Lilly, where I've been working since then. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. And Alessandro, it's your turn.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much to Dorina, Valentina, and the MIB Alumni Association for having organized this a very interesting meeting. So my story is pretty similar to the story of Serena, in the sense that I was an academic researcher. I am a biologist. I got my PhD in the between of the University of Padua and University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Then I decided to face the world of business by attending an MBA, and after this experience, I was able to move into the industry. I performed many different kind of jobs, and at the end of the day, I decided that with the experience of the MBA to start a new experience as an entrepreneur. And so I founded a company. The name is Biocompatibility Innovation, and I'm the CEO of this company that is looking at cardiovascular improvement for the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. And now Franco Leoni.
Hello to everybody. Yes, I'm Franco Leoni. I did the 8th MBA at MIB in 1988, so many years ago. And I am a theoretical mathematician. And after my graduation, I worked for a couple of years in a company. And then I started some companies. I've been an entrepreneur since then. I have started company into different fields: construction equipment, energy, electronics. And in the last 8 months, I've been mainly focused in the production of medical devices and personal protective equipment that is strictly related to the pandemic. And I just take 20 seconds to say thank you very much to Dorina for being such an excellent president and for serving the association for those 9 years. She was vice president when I was president. Then she carried on the following term, and then she became the youngest president ever of our association, and she has been an amazing asset of the Alumni Association since then. So thank you very much.
Okay, this doesn't count. Go on.
That's it. That's all about me. I'm an entrepreneur doing things not strictly related to mathematics. I was a theoretical mathematician, but I put science in my business, but I am a businessman.
Okay, thank you all, and hello everybody. Thank you for your introductions. And now let's start with the round of the interview. Okay, so here the first question for you, and based on your experience, how do you see the relationship between science and business? Maybe Serena, can you give us what you think?
Sure, yes, I will break the ice, I guess. Okay, thank you for the question. That it's very broad, but for me it's very deep, because basically it's the sum up of my story. Basically, as I was saying, as I am coming from science, at some point I decided I wanted to give a more practical, let's say, approach and implement what I was doing. And so for me, the relationship between business and science is not only, let's say, the present of how things are going, but it's also more and more the approach that the future of the workplace will look for. I strongly believe, probably because of my background, in a multidisciplinary approach. And I think it's a value and asset that for me was critical to, have a different perspective when I was sitting at a certain table, and to always have, a different view on things. And therefore, I think it's what more and more, at least in the company I'm working and in the sector where I'm currently in, I think it's something that companies are looking a lot into having this complementary approach. And when I was, thinking about the theme of this reunion, one of the things that came to my mind, it's a very interesting quote that for me applies very well to this question. That is, if you're an artist, learn science. If you're a scientist, cultivate art. And I think it's interesting, not because now every scientist has to go to business and vice versa, it's not that, but I think the relationship is that what it gave to me is the opportunity to have a very broad and wide approach that helped me to districate in different situations, both in science and business. And for me, at the end of the day, now working in a business that is based on science, because 30% in the end of the company revenue is spent in science and in research. That is what I'm coming from. It's, I think, the best recognition for what I've been doing.
Thank you, Serena. And Claudio, would you like to tell us what is your experience, or how do you see this relation between science and business?
Yeah, like it was said, it's also inherent very much to what I do. I mean, in my current role, but also in my background, I'm a physicist by academic formation. So science and business to me is the heart of what I do. Actually, the heart is more on the science, and the brain is more on the business. And that's the personal, let's say, the way I experience this. More broadly, I tend to think that science is better, but maybe my colleagues feel different. Gianluigi made a very clear presentation there. I personally think that science is better if is inspired not by business necessarily. I give you an example. SpaceX. A couple of days ago, we've seen, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but it's an amazing thing that these guys at SpaceX with NASA are doing. Right? That's a perfect example of science and business together. Of course, SpaceX wants to make money. NASA wants to advance. They're scientists after all. So I think it's a perfect example. But I think it's good. It's as long as it's the science, it's the advancement of knowledge, is that wonderful aspiration to advance the knowledge of humankind, which is at the heart of every scientist, whether it's solving math equations or going to the North Pole or going to the moon. As long as that part is alive, then I would have no problem with corporations working together with science. But I think that should be the driver. And in fact, if you think about it, universities, and we heard it at Sissa, they all have a third mission. Clearly, you talk to any rector, they'll tell you, we have things to do in the third mission. Third mission is, towards society or also towards the business. So I think science knows this very well, how to look at the business. I wonder if companies know that as well. Not all companies look at science as a place for solutions. There are wonderful examples of that as well, but I think it works usually more effectively from science to business rather than from business to science. And I think that's something that should happen much more strongly, but we can discuss it in the following questions as well.
Thank you, Claudio. Very interesting. Alessandro, would you like to give your insight on this?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes, I was and I'm still a basic researcher, I can say, even if I'm an entrepreneur right now. Anyway, I think that the key driver from science to business is the technological innovation, the advancement, is what I try to make mine to move from the basic science to the industry. And I remember very well, this is my experience, then when I was a researcher, I had no vision about what I could do later on during my life. I don't want to anticipate the next question, but the MBA that I attended provided me some instruments, and then my experience course was just not the MBA that made me ready to try to jump into this arena of the entrepreneurship. So right now, what I can see is that there is a big gap, still a big gap, at least in Italy, from the science world and the industry world. When I work with institutions outside, sometimes Italy, sometimes outside Europe, and I look to the US, I see there is a strong relationship between the university and the science research, I mean the basic research, compared to the world of business on the industry. Sometimes here I can find some difficulties when I speak to the research group, when I forward them some of my experiments in order to improve what I'm doing. So I'm improving some medical devices in the performance provided to the final patients. So there is a gap that we should fill. But the main thing is that yes, we should be more strict in the relationship with the scientific world. I say that as a researcher, and I think there is a long way, but is a good pathway we could design together to fill this gap.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. And now the second question is, do you have any particular insight to share about what changed during the pandemic? And Susanne, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd be delighted to share my comment on this, working in the science field directly, not as a scientist, unlike the previous speakers. So I personally think, and also from my work point of view, that there's been a massive shift that's actually brought science to the forefront. How many of us have heard people say, oh, you know, everybody's suddenly a virologist, everybody's an expert. It's on everybody's lips. We're all talking about science. But the impact, the importance of scientific development, I think, has increased also on a national and on an international arena. The attention to vaccines, the no-vaxxers have disappeared, for example, or they did for a while in any case. And also in terms of the importance of diagnostics and the development of clinical trial acceleration, for example, that's gone from 10 to 15 years to less than a year. If we look at what Moderna has come up with recently, which is extraordinary. Also on a global scale, we had Bill and Melinda Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, investing so much money in looking for an effective vaccine for the pandemic, and then Big Pharma were leading, first of all, you know, the worldwide effort to find a solution, and then of course, you know, joining the race in finding it first, which is the nature of science to business then. So I think that the focus is clearer, putting science first, as Claudio said, and then business. And also I think that an impact has been that we look to leaders who are able to deal with a crisis with humanity and clarity. I think that or with scientific experience, such as Chancellor Merkel or the Prime Minister of New Zealand. I think that they were championed through this pandemic, and I think the importance of science above all has become important to everybody, also non-scientists. Thank you.
Thank you for your insight, really interesting. And Franco, what's your opinion on this topic?
So, first of all, I completely agree to what has been said, so I will try to add something else from a business perspective, and looking at that from an international point of view. If I look at that from a Far East point of view, from a business perspective, nevertheless, what has been said is completely accurate and true. In the Far East, I work a lot with the Far East, so China, Japan, South Korea. I would say that from a business perspective, not as much as, I mean, the pandemic procedure, they put it in place. They put it in the right way. They are managed. Western world, we, let's say, suffered much more because we were a little bit more.
Franco, we have some problem
Global, Western.
because we cannot hear you very well, actually.
Sorry about that.
May you repeat?
Well, so I can do. Yes, there is two solutions. I can, or I. What do you want?
we cannot hear you. Maybe we try in a minute to come back to you. Okay,
so I'm because sorry about that, but today I had a business meeting in the morning, so I am traveling. But for sure, I should be able to find a better spot with a better connection. So if you already hear me better, I can start again, or I can, as you want. Should I start again? Or
it's better now. It's better now. So let's go on, please.
So now it's better. So let's just stop the car in a point, and then start again. Sorry about that. Okay, so I can stop it here. So as I said, I completely agree with what has been said up to now, that the science has become a major player and much more respected. And I wanted to add something more and look at that from a business perspective, from a global perspective. If I look at that from the Far East perspective, they had a, let's sort of pandemic procedure. They put it in place, they did it right. And so basically there's not been a lot of change in the way they do business. If we look at the Western way, we haven't behaved such good as they did. And if we go from a global perspective, I think that, and this is going to stay, what I'm telling you now is something I believe is going to stay, is that the Far East has become more attractive. That means if you speak to young people and you ask them, where do you want to live? If you have asked them 1 year ago, not so many people would have said the Far East. Now, so many more. So this, and is from a business and political and social point of view, to be attractive, it is something very difficult to achieve because it is not. And if it is there to last, it may change the balance of the world. So this is what I think the pandemic has changed and is going to stay. So she was talking about the Melinda and Gates Foundation. I heard one thing that Bill Gates said. I don't know if it's true because, media always make their own way to say things, that we will behave differently. We will keep some habits. I'm not really sure about that. I think that there are something that is so strictly correlated to how we are, that in a year we will again be happy to meet in person. We want to do that, and it will happen. And all those kind of communication, like the one we are doing now, they will stay, but they will not become the new normal. We will go back to, we want to see, we want to touch, we want to feel ourselves. And there's no otherwise, unless there is something that destroys the human race, there's nothing that can change this.
Thank you.
This is my answer. I hope I was able to pass the volume this time on. Yeah.
Yes, it was working much better. Thank you, Franco.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you also, Susan. This is a very interesting insight on how the pandemic is affecting. But next question would be, did the MBA attended at MIB help you better perceive the relationship between science and business? And if yes, in what way? Maybe Alessandro, could you answer this question?
Absolutely. Yes, the MBA was the perfect opportunity for me to understand that all the new findings have the potential to create windows for business. But it's not immediate that scientific data can be used by the industry. So particularly, I think that it depends in the way they are organized and presented. According to me, data must be always cross-checked in different ways. And it is fundamental to develop lateral thinking. So most of the time, data that people can find are in the area that can be applied maybe just in the area close to where you are working. With this preface, I would say that as a former researcher, I feel very comfortable to tell you that the MBA provided me the instruments that helped to develop this lateral thinking. I have now the possibility to speak with all the functions in the industry at the same level. I'm not an expert in finance, I'm not an expert in marketing, but I have all these aspects related to my background that gave me the possibility to start this new experience and to feel comfortable to be an entrepreneur, I would say. So the experience is much important, of course, because just by attending an MBA, you don't accumulate so much experience, but you have the basis to start to run something on yourself, and it is what happened to me. So I'm really happy that I could perform this experience because since that time, even if I performed several other managerial work before founding my company, I could then be really very, very, very comfortable to start my own experience.
Thank you, Alessandro. Serena, would you like to give some words on your experience during the MBA at MIB?
Sure. Well, I agree with what Alessandro said, but I'll try to give a bit my insights. So to be honest, for me it was a complete bet coming to MIB, and yeah, to be honest, I knew nothing about business before, because for me, always what I've done before was about, science, research. So I really had no clue even I could fit in such a world. And thinking now back then, I think it was a big jump. So the short answer is yes, it definitely helped coming to MIB, and it helped me think in two ways. The first is in understanding how to kind of bring together those two words. So often one of the comments or question I get asked is basically, okay, you forget your background and what you did before, and then you move to business. But that's not really the case, because I think the biggest learning that I got during my MBA was how to value my background in a different context. And I think that was, for me, the main learning and the main opportunity I got. And it's kind of one of those instruments that Alessandro was talking about for me, was this. So understanding how to value your knowledge, your skills into a different context. And so that for me translated afterwards in a basically competitive, a strength, an asset for me that also helped me afterwards in my career. And so the second thing is that, as I was saying, for me, it was a complete bet, not only because I was coming from science and I knew nothing about business, but also because I was coming from an unknown science, basically, because back then, you know, when talking about cognitive science was something still very rare, particularly into companies. And for me, my objective was going into a company this time. So it was really also finding those aspects and those you know, unique things that could bring value not only to me, but also in the place where I would end up going, right? So finding how I could add value to a different place. So these for me are the main things I got from the MBA. And then, of course, all the rest that come from that, that is, you know, the network and also the ability to have different perspective, just because you get to know a different word and understanding what is the business. And so also for me, talking to different functions now, I have those you know, skills and understanding and knowledge that allow me to interface with different people and being able to, you know, sit at the table with them at least.
Thank you, Serena. We have a question to Claudio from Carlo Rossi. From what I see in the business world, I would say small micro companies struggle to get access to academic scientific resources due to a number of reasons, ranging from limited culture in the companies to bureaucrat distance between SMEs and academic world, or simply some missing communication link. What would you suggest to a micro company that is wishing to get in touch with the international academic world for both sharing their thoughts or using academic resources for a further development? How would you improve the visibility of academic research through SMEs?
Okay, I'll address the first question because I think it's the easiest one. I think connecting to the academic world, it's very easy. The academic world is it's not a business world, right? So it tends to be open. It's open by default, right? I mean, science is done through communication among scientists, so it's very, very easy to get into a university, speak to a department, speak to a head of a department. Besides, all of the research that is done by academia is public. You know, it's published by companies like ours, but it's published by many other people, and many of that stuff is available freely online. So, to a small company that is interested in getting in touch with academia, I would suggest to map, first of all, what's important. You know, the head researcher. I mean, imagine that every scientific paper that is published has the names and the emails of everybody who's done that research. So in a moment, you can get in touch with these people and you tell them, look, I'm a manager from this small company. I'd like to come up and meet with you. And very easily you get into a conversation there. Then you take it to the next level, which is of course more difficult, because then of course there needs to be a partnership. You have to find out what's the win for one and what's the win for the other, so on and so forth. So that's what I would suggest to break the barrier, which is mostly mental. Get into the universities and talk to them. Giant companies do that. We have representatives here from pharmaceuticals. Antonio from our MBA group is from a pharmaceutical. You know, they interact with universities, of course, because data is important, computing power is important. At a lower level, it's even easier. So get in with them, talk to them, and see if there is synergies possible. Many scientists are desperate, without meaning anything negative with that, for collaborations and new sources of funding or inspiration. So the answer is get into the university and talk to these people.
Thank you, Claudio.
Thank you. Okay, there is another question from Georgiana Ion, MBA 18. How, for all of you, I think, is not specified. So how do you see the triangle science, finance, entrepreneurship? How important is the finance in the science business world? Thank you.
And who starts?
I could just jump in very quickly and say this is the first thing I learned at my MBA course. It all starts with the money, basically. It's fundamental for bringing science to the business world.
Maybe I could say something which links also to the other question. I think unless there's anybody in this call who's 15 years old, all of us come from a generation where you're either a scientist or you're a business person. This is not like this anymore. I go and talk to scientists, and scientists talk to me about a return on investment and getting money and all sorts of things that were impossible to talk about in that world only 20 or 30 years ago. So yeah, whether it's finance or whether it's entrepreneurship, it's the same language that they speak there. So yeah, so I think there's no barrier anymore. If there's any barrier, it's because we're older than 15.
If you can say something more, my experience as an entrepreneur, but research scientist, because in my company we still perform research, basic research. What we are doing is very quickly said. We are improving the biocompatibility of some medical devices like the heart valves to make them more durable during the time. But this is a very difficult situation when you have to communicate this data outside to get finance. And the most important part of the story is to communicate that data in a way that everybody can understand, especially the investors can understand. If we don't have money, of course, we cannot work anymore, because we are a company, but we are a research company. So without any provision of the return of the investment, you cannot go on and working anymore. So it's very important to speak the same language and to organize your data, every kind of data, regardless if it is a scientific data or not. But you have to get very well organized to communicate outside in order to receive finance and proceed with your work.
Thank you, Alessandro, and all the others, and thank you also to Georgiana and Carlo for the questions. We have another question. The theme of our reunion is from science to business. Can we also talk about from business to science, or in other words, from academia to the industry and back? Claudio, you already touched this point before. Do you want to add something?
No, just one very, very quick one. If you think about it, only a few years ago, if you had to deal with a lot of data or deal with a lot of computing power, you would go to a university, right? In Italy, we have one of the biggest computing centers, computing power centers, which is Cineca near Bologna. It's one of the biggest in Europe. So, you had to go to these centers if you wanted to do large computing. And if you wanted data, you had to go to these centers. Now it's not like that anymore. Universities and research centers are going up to Google, because Google or those companies have a huge computing power, way more than Cineca and sometimes more than CERN. So you see how science now tends to go to cooperation for computing power. Data, same thing. If you want to do a research, there's some neuroscientists here or on sociology or anything like that, you need to go to Google, you need to go to Facebook, you need to go to Twitter to get all of that social data. So you see, it's almost it's reversed, but these two worlds still communicate together. So I think it's totally interchangeable. Science to business, business to science. It's a definition. It's not really right there anymore.
Thank you, Claudio. And there is another question from the chat. How was the experience starting your own business after the MBA program? And how did you find the MBA program help you in your endeavors? This is from Jose Mondodeño, MBA 31. Franco, would you like to answer this question?
Hey, I hope you hear me.
No.
Yes, and I couldn't jump in on the question of Georgiana because
we cannot hear you, Franco, again. Sorry.
Do you hear me? Do you? You don't?
I hear you. I don't know, Valentina, do you hear?
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, now yes, it's better.
Okay, okay. So I was 3 minutes ago in a spot that was not a good volume, so I couldn't jump in. If possible, I would also add something to the question of Georgiana about finance, and then I will answer to this question. So about finance, I think that it is true what Susan said, that money is important, but if you are a businessman, you always find a way to get through the problem of the. It's always tough. There's no free money. There's no one when you tell your story that is ready to give you money. They want to see results. But usually you always find a way. You get finance from customer. You can find from crazy friends. You finally get found by the banks that are always the last that come. But you finally got the money if you have something that the market is ready to. It's useful for. Then, how did I become a businessman? This is the question. How did I?
How was the experience starting your own business after the MBA, and how did you find the MBA program help you in your endeavors?
So the MBA program helped me so much because, as I told you, I was just a theoretical mathematician, so I was very naive. And all I've learned about, most of the things I've learned about business, I learned at MIB, so it was incredibly valuable. From a practical point of view, I think that being an entrepreneur, you really use the most of everything that you learn at MIB, because if you just became a manager in a specific field, you became an HR manager, you became a sales manager, you just use a portion of what you learn. If you run a business, you have to use all of them. You need to hold the card in your hand, and you have to play all the one day by day. So it's the best if you want to run a business, to have an experience like the one that you can have at MIB. Of course, I found a lot of difficulties. I found hard times. Still, there are many times that I think, wow, now it's not going to go, or now it's going to go in the wrong way. But you either find a solution or you either change your direction. Is it okay, the volume? Did you hear me? I'm always worried that nobody hears. I'm always worried that the volume is not passing. I'm always back to Bologna, so in like 5 minutes, I will be back in the office. That will be a much more stable situation.
No, it was okay. Thank you, Franco.
Okay.
Alessandro, as you're an entrepreneurship as well, would you like to add something or to comment on this?
I completely subscribe what Franco said. So when you have to take care about many different aspects of the business as the CEO of the company, you have to think about how to present data to get finance, different kind of finance. Of course, you have to understand which are the best data to be collected and used to convince your partners that you have the best idea. And so it's very valuable what I learned at MIB. Of course, you have to practice then, because learning and attending a course is very important, is absolutely the most important thing you can do at the beginning. And then you have to experience as soon as you can. You have to try to make yourself in that position to use the information that you learned. So of course, once again, the MBA was of great importance to me, also because it gave me the confidence to start this experience. Otherwise, I was really scared at the beginning of my pathway to not be able to do so. But I got all the instruments that helped me to start the experience, to say yes, let's try.
Thank you, Alessandro. We have other questions online. A question for Susanne from Valeria, MBA 29. In your view, should the language of science, for example, communities, change to become more accessible and digestible by the business world? And if so, in what way? Many thanks.
Well, thank you for that question. I think the language of science has to become accessible to everyone. I think it's very true, as Gianluigi said in his excellent presentation, that speaking the language of business is important, but to encourage policy changes and to encourage science to citizens and just getting people involved and therefore lobbying and moving in that direction, you have to be able to understand what is that value of science? And I mean, we have this unbelievable example that we're all living right now. And to realize the way forward is knowledge-based. The more we know, the more we can defeat this pandemic and other issues that are facing the world. So I think that taking basic science and the importance of basic science and making it accessible to everyone is a real mission. That's certainly my mission. So thank you for that question.
And I think,
thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah, if I can add to that, remember that I think Italy, it's one of the few countries in Europe, I can speak for Europe, that doesn't have a science advocacy group towards the government or towards the media. So right now, when you turn on the TV and they tell you about, the pandemic, the RT, the data, all that stuff is not informed by groups of scientists who do advocacy to the government. Now, with the technical committee, there is something like that, but in general, there is not. So there is a huge opportunity, I think, from science to appeal to that. In a recent study that has been published on The Lancet about confidence on vaccines, somebody talked about Novax before, it shows that between 10 and 30% of people are unsure about the efficiency of vaccines, 10 to 30%. So it's almost like in an electoral race. That gap is people that are undecided. So those people sooner or later are going to go either towards no vax or towards vax. The big question is, what is science doing to appeal to those people and show them that vaccines are a good thing? And how much are no vax doing to show people that vaccines are a bad thing? So it's a battle there. They're much more present to move the sentiment and not take it for granted in the ivory tower that Dorina mentioned at the beginning of the talk.
Thank you. Thank you all. We have another 2 questions for you all. What's the role, or what could be the role of the public sector in facilitating interactions between finance and research, in your opinion? Did you find a positive benchmark, a best practice in your experience? And the second one, how could MIB Alumni Association promotes itself to be the link between academia, scientific research, and finance. Do you see any opportunity we could explore in the next mandate?
So let's start with the first question, Paola, one by one, because otherwise maybe they...
Yes, they were quite long. So the first one was, what's the role, or what could be the role of the public sector in facilitating interactions between finance and research, in your opinion? Did you find a positive benchmark, a best practice in your experience?
Maybe we
so
can
maybe Suzanne, would you like?
Yeah, I started the communications office at the ICGB 3 years ago. And I think that at this particular time, public engagement and science communication is becoming increasingly important. Gianluigi mentioned ESOF, the Euroscience Open Forum. We personally hold public conferences, a series of events called Science in the City that started in 2013. I think that reaching people, particularly children, is really fundamental. Once people are over, once people have made their decision about vaccines, their efficacy or not, it's really difficult to change that opinion. I don't think you can, but you can certainly educate and translate the impact and the importance of science to young children and to young adults. And by doing so, draw more attention to it in society in general, through them. They are the future. I sound like I'm on a pulpit, sorry. But, Yeah.
Thank you, Suzanne. And in this sense, Gianluigi, would you like to add something to this question and answer?
I think that what has been pointed out also, the fact that there should be a bidirectional way of going from science to business and business to science could be even a cycle. And I would like that maybe in a few years we will be here to talk about the fact that there are also careers that could benefit from this bidirectional path, and not only, let's say, looking from one side to other one, and so on. So I think that this has been very, very inspiring, and I appreciated a lot also all the remarks that have been done. So I think that we are in the right direction to improve our attitude, also to communicate to the general public.
I think the second question was on what the impact, what could MIB do for that. I think it could do
how could MIB Alumni Association promote itself to be the link between academia and scientific research and finance? Do you see any opportunity?
Yeah, for instance, I think this is a great example of that, for instance, in a nutshell. And also remember, maybe it would be good to take ownership of the fact that the Trieste area is in Europe, the area, and this is data that I can provide if you're interested, is the area where the highest quality of research in Europe comes out. In other words, a research paper published in the Trieste area has a weighted impact factor. I don't want to get into great detail, but has an impact on science which is very, very strong. Why? Because you have the university, the synchrotron, ICTP, Sissa. You have a group of things in a very small area. So MIB has a great opportunity, I think, to be a little bit of a catalyst there. Bring more people like this one into a group. Have business and science and scientists speak. And maybe there will be synergies that they could spark. The ground is fertile, and you sit right on it.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I think it's time to close the session of the interviews. It was very, very interesting. Clap, clap. Again, I'm very happy, as I said, to listen to all of you, because this proves once more that the MIB Trieste Alumni Association can be the setting for high quality discussions, and why not for starting to lay the basis of further collaborations with the mathematics lab of Gianluigi, or with the business of Franco or Alessandro with SGB, with Elsevier, and Eli Lilly. I'm sorry, Serena, I have to be all round. Okay. So we discussed a lot. Maybe we can discuss a bit more at the end of the reunion. If you're still around, we'll still be here. Now it's time to open our assembly. And as I was mentioning in the beginning of this reunion, 2020 was a year of elections. This means, on the one side, that it's time. This is a good moment for our association. It means that it's time for fresh ideas. It's time for new and enthusiastic people to come on board, and we are very happy for this. And on the other hand, it's time for reflection as well. We, the current board, are ending our mandate, so maybe it's time a little bit to draw some conclusion on what has been done during these 3 years. From my side, as president, this has been really an amazing experience. This has been a unique experience. This has been a challenge, but as all challenges, it has been highly, highly rewarding. I have learned many, many things, and MIB became my second home. Practically, Franco already anticipated me, but I didn't ask him to do this. I didn't pay him. I've been around for 9 years. I've been around since the month that I graduated my MBA 21 back in 2011. And then until 2017, so 6 years as member of the board and also vice president. I'm also red now, okay, because emotions are coming out. And then from 2017 to today, I've been the president of the association. These have been 9 long, intense years of knowing many of you, because I'm in contact with hundreds of persons. So hello to all the new persons that I don't know, and also to all to other friends. I've been working to organize a lot of events, formal and informal, and together with the boards, also with the previous boards. And I also want to say thank you and hello to Franco Leoni and Alessandra Lo Monaco, two previous presidents of the association that have taught me a lot of things, from whom I learned a lot, okay? We try to always make you as members seize the potential of the Alumni Association. And this potential should come from many things, and you should perceive it as you, let's say, as you come to our lifelong learning events, as you come for entertainment and leisure, as you come from networking, both professional and personal, or as you come to feel yourself part of something bigger, to get this famous sense of belonging that we are talking about, the MIB spirit. It has not been easy, especially during this last year. The COVID pandemic has prohibited the mass gatherings, so we had to cancel some events. I like just to mention 2 of them that we were keen on organizing, and we had them planned already for from 2019. We had an event on women entrepreneurship, because we wanted to do this, but unfortunately in March, but we could not. And then we had another event, but I hope this could go on with the next board. We had getting to know, an informal event with the Alumni Association from IPE. IPE is the Naples Business Schools. So I'm in contact with the Alumni Association from there, and we wanted to organize an event in Milan in May, but unfortunately we had to cancel it as well. I'm sure the next board will expand on that. All we did was with the one aim, and I'm glad that many people write me on this, was to try to transfer to you our enthusiasm and our passion. During all graduation speeches and meetings, we have always tried to show that we are passionate about the association. And I have to say that seeing now 31 people eager to become part of the board and to get actively involved couldn't make us more happier. It means somehow we got the message through. I also want to say, since there will be only 12 people elected, and this means 19, if my maths is right, Gianluigi and Franco, 19 people will be left out. But this doesn't mean you cannot contribute. The Alumni Association is about being present and about MIB spirit, irrespective of the fact that you are within the board or not. Okay, so having said this, I want to get to the thank yous. There's a long thank you list, so I'll make it short because you want to know who are the 12 new board members. So I want to say thank you to all the alumni all around the world that helped us during these years, because there are many, and even if they are not part of the board, they helped a lot. I want to say thank you to all the organizers of all our alumni networking cafes. I think we organized more than 50 during these years. I want to thank you, of course, to the board. There are 12 members, so if I cite all of them, I may forget some. So I will just make 3 names of the person that mostly helped during these 3 years. And they are my 2 vice presidents, Paola Sartori and Francesca Solian. Thank you, girls. And also Maria Trimarchi, even if she was not a vice president, she was also very active. And I want to really thank you for this. And of course, I want to thank the school. I want to thank Carolina and especially Valentina Savino for their patience, because you know me, you have to be patient with me. It was really amazing. So overall, thank you all, because it's you. So you helped us to make the association as strong and as attractive as it is today. Before I start crying, I want to give the floor to Francesca Solian to present a little bit of our initiatives, a little bit of what we did during these 3 years.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dorina. Good evening, MIB mates. Dorina has already been very exhaustive. And just a few words. I'm happy that we have been able to organize this reunion and therefore to be together, even if for a short time and virtually. And I thank you for being so numerous. I know.
Francesca, I'm sorry. Can you try to, we don't hear you properly. Maybe if you take off your headphones, could be better. We hear whistle in your microphone. Or just
better? Better?
Much better.
Okay, thank you. I know there is a lot of curiosity and excitement to know the election results. Find out the new members of the Governing Council for 2020-2023 mandate. So I promise I'll be concise. Being a board member and serving the community as a vice president and responsible for the communication has been an enriching and challenging experience. I've had travel, mates, and serving the community and a team, which it was exciting to collaborate, put everyone's idea together and make them come through, grow together and be committed to keep the community active. That community, those people that 3 years ago gave us their trust. As a board and personally, we are very satisfied with your response, your contribution, your suggestions, and your support that as a community you have given us during these 3 years. This has encouraged all of us to do better and better, and has fueled our motivation. Our community has grown in terms of members thanks to new graduates and in the digital world as well. In the so-called virtual squares, there has been a significant growth, especially on LinkedIn, where the association's page followers increased by 300%. So a big success. Among these followers, there are also people, professionals outside the MIB world. Therefore, a sign that we have managed to arouse interest in the MIB community and in the IMB brand. So, time is over. We want to say thank you for the years together by sharing a short video. Thank you again. Enjoy the video and ad maiora semper.
Thank you, Francesca. Now the video will come. Please enjoy. So thank you, Francesca. I'm not crying, okay, because otherwise I have some makeup today.
I'm crying.
Okay, I'm not crying. So now it's time for me to leave the floor to Valentina and move on finally to the presentation of the new board. Or maybe she has something else to say.
Yes, no. First of all, of course, thank you really, not only by my side, but the whole school for the great job the outgoing board has done. And it was not difficult to work with them, actually, because of the passion they always put in the field. So I don't want to, it's quite a thrilling time because we have to find out the winners of this great challenge. And before I was talking to you about two record numbers. And the first one is the number of candidates, because I mean 31. Last time it was 3 years ago on 15 people, which was a good number, but now we are more than double. And the number of voters, more than 500. And later I will give you the exact number. Let's see the presentation, just a minute. And it's okay. So just a minute, we will share the full screen with you. And I wanted just to give you a quick overview on the macro numbers of, we are in total 3,339 alumni around the world. And the 73% are part of the Alumni Association. Of course, we are doing some initiatives to involve the last 27%, but this percentage has grown a lot in the last years. So we are really proud of that, because some of the first edition, I'm talking about 30 years ago, it's not easy to involve people and to find again their contacts. You can imagine we are distributed in more than 100 countries, so we are really a huge community. And what I would like to say before going on and tell you the winners of the challenge is, again, a great thank you to Luca and Francesco, Marco, Emanuele, Valentino, Carlo, Maria Paola, Francesca, Dorina, Maria Trimarchi, and Pietro. And of course, thanks a lot to Dorina, because with a great commitment, really a great commitment and passion, she did a lot of great initiatives and supporting the association with fresh ideas always. So let's have a look to the elections number. As I told you before, more than 500 have voted, around 25%. This percentage, we'd like, of course, to improve it in the next future. Anyway, it is a good result, because the last election of the board 3 years ago, it was around 20. So we are creating more engagement every year. More than 1,000 of preferences were expressed, because I remind you that every one of you could select up to 3 candidates. And so let's have a look to the votes. Here we have the entire classification. So we can see from the 1st to the 31st of the candidates, all the preferences we collected. As you know, the first 12 candidates are part of the new board. But anyway, so let's go to the other. Here we have a look at the graphics, always with the same data. And so talking about the 12, we here insert them from an alphabetical order. And here we have the new board in charge for the next 3 years. So first of all, I'd like really to thank every one of the candidates, because we know when you candidate for a position, you always exit somehow from your comfort zone. So thank you, every one of you. And again, I would like to underline and underline and underline for the 3rd time that you do not need to be an element of a formal element, I mean, of the new board, because you can always support your association. So the president, we are going to find out the president after the first meeting of the new board, because the 12 candidates of the new board are going to appoint the president during the first meeting. So we will know. Usually the first meeting is organized in the first month, and so we will soon know the name of the lady of the Mr. President. So again, thank you all. Feel free to support your association whenever you want, from every country you are. You can imagine we always organize the board meeting online, so you can follow us even if you live very far from Trieste. And congratulations to the 12 that were appointed. We can go a bit back, so we can say Ornella, Igor, Gabriela, Teodora, Kion, Lisa, Alessia, Gonzalo, Carlo, Manish, Luca, Mario, and Irma. Thank you and congratulations. And we wish you, of course, a good job to every one of you. Thank you.
So thank you, Valentina. It's very nice to see you are 6. We are also gender balanced. I see 6 ladies and 6 men present, and I see so many people that I know and that I'm sure are going to do a great job. I saw some other great people that unfortunately were left out of the board, but keep in mind that you are not left out of the association. This is very, very important. My colleague Paola wanted to send a message to you as well. Paola, please.
Yes, first of all, congratulations to the new board. And as a leader of the previous board, first of all, thank you all for these years that we share together. And for the new board, that you now have a huge responsibility on keeping the MIB spirit and the passion high, because it takes a lot of time and effort to build up, but then you need to keep it and continue building up. So, but please do it, enjoying it, have fun, okay? I think that that's the best way also to transmit the passion that you have for the MIB and for the association. Thank you.
Now, if you want, you can open your microphones, not until 10 in the evening, but we can still have, if you want, the elected persons or whoever wants to express something. Not now, we are not back on our agenda, so whoever wants to really express themselves, please do.
Please just let me underline one more thing, that we have a real international board for the next 3 years. And that's a very nice thing, because of course it reflects the nature of our community. We have Argentina, we have Italy, we have India with Manish, we have Brazil with Gabriela, is right? Gabriela, are you hearing? Yes or no? I don't see Gabriela. And so we have 5 countries around in our new board, and it's really a very, very nice thing.
And also different masters. Finally, we have MIRM people in the board, because I was always coming to MIRM graduation saying,
yeah,
people of MIRM, you're so nice and so involved, but come to the board. So thank you to Mario and Teodora, right?
Yes. Yes, and also from EMIF, you know. Okay. Thank you, Luca.
Who raised, sorry, yes, please. Mario, go, I saw.
Thank you very much to everyone. I'm really emotional because I've met a lot of friends during my first alumni reunion when I was a MIRM student 3 years ago. And in that occasion, I've met people like Carlo and Teodora, my future fellows in this campaign. And 2 years ago, I kicked off my first event in Munich, gathering a lot of friends there, and it's been a great pleasure. And I really thank you. First of all, Alessandra Monaco, the first person that I was in contact when I wanted to start to have relationships with the board. And second, of course, I want to thank you, all the board, starting from Dorina, thanking also Francesca and all the people that have permitted us to be stronger and more united during these years. I want to thank you, Carlo and Teodora, for these adventures. Thanks to them, I'm here. And I'm really happy that I will be in the board with people like Gonzalo and Manish, people that I know, and I think that they will give a great contribute to the association. And of course, I really thank you to the people that have voted to me and help to give back something of really important during the next 3 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mario. I saw Carlo. Sorry, Carlo, I missed you. Now I saw you in the... Please, Carlo.
Well, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So thank you very much to everybody. And first of all, thanks to Dorina for the fantastic job she did in the past 3 years, and all the other members of the board. As you might notice, I will be at my 3rd consecutive mandate. I moved recently up north in Italy. I'm now living near Padua, so it will be easier for me to be in closer contact with the association and with the school. And I cannot avoid to notice that the huge diversity we have in this board, in this new board, is a fantastic news. Because speaking about KPIs, we have a target as a new board, and it's not an easy task we have, because we will have to take the huge numbers the last boards put together in the association and make it grow even more. And I can say it will be easy from one point of view, from the diversity. From my point of view, diversity is a multiplier. And having so many different experiences, so many nationalities, together, it will be a great help to the job we will do together. I can't wait to attend the first meeting of the new board. And I know from the past 2 mandates that Valentina will do a great job organizing our first meeting. So it will be easy for us to get together. I think virtually, but as well online, if it will be possible. We will see what the school has ready for us. And I can't wait to start this new journey over the new mandate. Thank you very much for the trust you gave us. And I am sure we will be able to make a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have other two. I saw in order, first Luca, then Gonzalo, please.
Yes, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me. Just wanted to spend a few words to say thank you to the ones who trusted me for this important role, for which I are sure to put all my energy, my enthusiasm and loyalty. It's also important to remind to each one of us that the success of our association, as someone said before, strictly depends on the commitment of each one of us to participate and help making our network work. I have great plans for the future, and I've seen so many good ideas around on the programs of my new colleagues that together with the other members of the board, I'm sure we will achieve, and also with the help of everybody. Just want to end with saying congratulations to all the new elected members. Thanks again, and see you soon. That's this. Thanks very much, and thank you, Dorina, for everything, for being such a great person, so energetic, so enthusiastic. I think you brought together all these people that today set up all these new records. And so this is, let me give you an applause to you. And thank you also to Maria for making me, how to say, accept this adventure. Thank you very much, and good work to everybody.
Thank you, Luca. Gonzalo, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will be brief. First of all, thanks everyone for participating in this assembly and also in all the election process. I want to thank everyone who trusted me and casted a vote. And then, yes, well, it's really nice to hear these words from Mario, from Carlo, from Luca. I think the 12 members, it's, I mean, we make a very diverse team, which is one of the, I think, key characteristics and assets of our MIB community. Well, I'm looking forward to our first meeting. Well, continue to be an active part of our community. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Okay, other people willing to take the floor?
Hi, Mani.
Hi, Valentina. Thank you very much, everyone, for. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. No, I think it's an interesting and amazing work what has been done in the last say 10 years that I've known MIB. So I think it's 10 years will be next year is 10 years that I came to Trieste the first time ever. So for me, I think it's an incredible journey in terms of looking from where I started as a student to potentially helping and working with such and made such amazing friends. I think it's a very for me, I think alumni, I think people say we are a very young university, even though I think you have lots of other universities around, but I think what we have achieved and the quality of people that we have that I network right now, I think it's an incredible, I think, and the numbers show that we really can do a lot, and I think we can include a lot of other candidates or potential, future candidates for the next alumni votes forever. So I think it's a very, very, very exciting time to be. And I think, Dorina, I have seen you develop from what I have seen. I think you've done amazingly well. And I think I treat most of you I think most of the people on the board, I think I know some of them. I think I'm really good friends with them. I'm really looking forward to see how, how we develop from being just a board which is super international, but also sort of bringing our backgrounds and what we stand for each other and how we can take it forward. So I think I'm super excited about it. So thank you very much for whoever has voted for me and who didn't join. I think I would like to thank them as well. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Manish. Okay. Alessia, you're shy today. I see you.
No, I'm not shy. I'm not shy. I can't wait. I can't wait to start to work.
Okay. So good job to every one of you.
Thank you to everyone who voted me.
Teodora, you are not shy, normal.
Yeah, I just was waiting for you, otherwise I'm always the first to speak. So thank you very much for the chance to give us the trust. Thank you, Dorina and Alessandra, really for your inspiration. I always follow you, and you are very good guides also for me. Also, as a woman, you know what it means. So it is a really success also for all of us. I am very, let's say, I really like to pay attention to D&I topics also within the company where I currently work. So I hope and I'm sure that we will do a very good job. We are a very nice group. And I'm very happy to share this experience with Mario, with Carl. Okay, we are friends, let's say, but also with Luca and the other girls, with Irma. I need to go back to the list usually before, just afterwards to congratulate and to meet everyone. And really, thank you. It's a very emotional moment, also the one with pictures. So I say hello also to Michele, memories of our MIB coffee in Paris. So I really like this international spirit. It is also one of the milestones of MIB. And despite we are not all based in Trieste or in Italy, I'm sure that we will find a way to be connected, even virtually for the time being, but the hope is to organize a big reunion, hopefully next year, to celebrate also this success for all of us. So thank you very much.
Okay, do we have other elected members online? No, I don't think so. If there are,
here I am.
They are hiding. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all. I'm very glad to receive the results. I am happy for having a new team for work. Of course, all the candidates that are not in the board, of course, can contribute with the ideas. I think this is a matter of doing team and be and grow. We cannot limit it to 12 people, the brain and the ideas of all. I think it's the best. Thank you very much. I was following since the beginning. So I'm very glad to participate, to be part of the board. I was in touch with some of the candidates, not of all. I'm eager to meet them and to start working. Yay!
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So, do we miss anyone? I checked. I don't think so, right?
Okay, so just give me half a minute, please, Carolina, come here, because there is quite a great job for this backstage. It is the first time we organize a set, and so I wanted to
we cannot.
Carolina. Okay. So please take the floor,
no, please take it.
because she was working in the backstage.
Just 2 minutes to show you guys how here are organizing the spaces to switch on the online production, online training. Our technicians with Andrea and Paul have organized really a media room, which is almost a TV star studio. It's a broadcast. Yeah, it's a broadcast studio. I want just to show you where we are now. We will share the screen for a while. Wait
for the ones who have not knew Carolina yet, she is the head of communication and today our IT specialist today. And now she is showing you all the stuff that stay behind.
Backstage.
Yes. Some pictures of the technical equipment. And as you can imagine, and as always, we found a lot of creative solutions, and especially our colleagues, not to spend a great amount of money, because of course, Prof. Nanut is always very keep on taking the budget under a certain limit. So they really did a great job with the resources they had. So thank you also to all the IT department of the school. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think we are done, guys. This was a very interesting reunion. It was online. It marked the end of our mandate, the beginning of the new one. We had many people. We had Gianluigi. I thought it was very, I hope it was very interesting also in terms of the topic, of what you learned, connections. And from my side, it was for sure quality time, 2 hours and something, very well spent. And I'm eager to see what's next. I'm based in Trieste. I have a lot of contacts, so for sure I will still be present, and I'm glad to be present without the responsibility of the president. So I will still do things, but with the calm and with the, let's say, the coziness of not having the obligation to do so. Thank you very much. Again, it was really a pleasure for all of us to have you and to go on building our community. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye
Ciao.
bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Stay healthy. Bye.
Bye.
Perché non si aggiorna i partecipanti? Perché no? Franco, sei arrivato? Dovunque dovevi...
Sì, sono arrivato, mamma mia. Speravo di riuscire ad arrivare prima, mi dispiace.
Ma
Cercavo, forse qui in questa...
Sempre al telefono eri? Sempre guidavi mentre parlavi?
Allora, quando parlavo cercavo di fermarmi, solo che poi mi fermavo e non sentivate. Allora dico, beh, forse ho preso una cella sbagliata. Allora mi muovevo e andavo a cercare, non so, la piazzola dopo. Si sentiva veramente male? O...
In un certo momento sì.
Sì, proprio non andava via l'audio, cioè perdevamo le parole, proprio i pezzi di frase, però non ti preoccupare Franco, è andata bene comunque, nessun problema.
Sì, no, ero curiosa, ma guarda questo, a un certo punto girava quasi anche la te, perché tipo, avevi l'effetto mare, l'effetto onda, no?
Comunque dai, congratulazioni, avete fatto un lavoro bellissimo. Cioè, quanta gente c'era collegata? 100, 200?
No, 90 e
un
qualcosa.
Centinaio siamo arrivati ad essere più o meno. Si erano iscritti più di 150 persone.
È andato tutto benissimo, dai.
Bene.
Ragazzi,
e poi
Paola,
passerà, tutto questo
Ciao,
passerà
Paola.
e il prossimo anno ci sarà una fantastica reunion
sì.
in presenza e ci rivedremo tutti, sarà molto bello, questo sicuramente
Il prossimo anno vorrà dire che faremo il doppio della festa.
Guarda,
Double party.
prossimo anno saremo 500 alla riunione.
Ciao Paola.
Conosco Irma, conosco Luca Spiezia, Igor Biscontin, che sono stati i miei allievi, forse anche qualcun altro. Quindi no, è un board interessante sicuramente, quindi ci darà da fare. Zio Carlo non me l'aveva mai detto nessuno.
Chi è che ti chiama Zio Carlo?
Zio Carlo.
Beh, sì, però fino a quando me lo dico io non fa effetto, è quando me lo dicono gli altri che fa effetto. Però va benissimo.
Il decano
No, allora, adesso intanto, come avete visto, credo che non più di 3 o 4 di quella lista di 8 sono riusciti ad entrare nel board.
Di cosa stai parlando?
Hanno giocato male delle carte, perché purtroppo c'era anche gente molto valida, Stefano Strami per esempio, molto in gamba, è rimasto fuori.
Ma guarda che c'è tanta gente in gamba che è rimasta fuori,
Le carte
Carlo, giusto?
non hanno probabilmente diretto bene la situazione.
Secondo me è tutta gente
Come ha
valida.
detto Dorina, possono
Di
partecipare.
30 voti, 34 se non sbaglio l'ultimo, mi sembra una roba del genere, per essere eletti era corretta. Dal prossimo anno la storia cambia, perché dal prossimo anno, ecco, il primo dei non eletti ha 34 voti, l'ultimo degli eletti ne ha 39. E questo board avrà una differenza importante rispetto agli altri, perché sarà, tra le altre cose, il primo board che lavorerà sempre in inglese. Perché la diversità di persone al suo interno è talmente elevata che non consente, se non in scambi privati, di lavorare in italiano. Questo è un bene, anche perché ci metti davanti a delle responsabilità importanti.
Yes.
Assolutamente sì. Adesso bisogna capire un po', adesso partiranno i contatti con gli altri, iniziate subito a contattare chi altri conoscete, io farò lo stesso all'interno del team. No, ma il board c'è già, il board è questo.
Ci sono dei candidati
Carlo, non ti
presidenti.
stiamo
seguendo, il board è già questo.
Ce n'è già uno
allora, Carlo,
in realtà,
fammi dire...
però io non ho i numeri di tutti, probabilmente sarà il caso che lo faccia Valentina Savino.
Sì, certo, io vi
Valentina è
invierò
sempre
ai
il punto di
12 alle 12.
contatto, assolutamente sì.
Vi invierò la prossima settimana le 12 persone che sono state elette.
No, ma se tu hai i numeri di tutti, assolutamente bene, va benissimo.
Certo, li abbiamo
Possiamo anche
mostrati prima
cambiare
i
il nome di
numeri.
questo gruppo qui, oppure questo qui, io direi questo qui teniamocelo tra noi tre.
Carlo, scusami, non ti
siamo
stiamo veramente seguendo. Allora,
Con chi
prima
parli, Carlo?
nella presentazione abbiamo mostrato i voti che hanno preso...
Sai, 3 è il numero perfetto per fare gruppo, no?
Ah, ma non sta parlando con noi.
Carlo, secondo me stai sbagliando, sei ancora nel gruppo.
Carlo, ci senti? Guarda che probabilmente sei al telefono, ma noi stiamo sentendo.
Buttiamo...
Quello è normale, quello è normale.
Sì. Sta parlando con qualcun altro.
Il tema è...
Finché non fa la doccia va bene, dai.
Aspetta, lasciamolo ancora, vediamo cosa dice.
Meno male che Carlo non stava dicendo sconcezze.
Non si capiva niente. Qua. Bene.
Va bene. Ancora comunque grazie a tutti. Ci sentiamo, insomma, riceverete le prossime news dopo che il direttivo si sarà riunito e quindi sapremo anche chi sarà il presidente poi del nuovo board. Quindi grazie, ciao a Paolina che ci segue da Bruxelles, ciao Igor, ciao Franco.
Ciao, grazie di tutto, ciao.
Ciao Francesca, grazie a te.
Bacioni,
buon weekend.
vede e ci si sente più leggeri.